video on how to remove rust from inside your motorcycle gas tank, or any gas tank that you can take out and pretty much move around, basically. Pretty cheap, a little to no money to do this. We'll go over what you need here and why we're doing it. So this tank, to the to the naked eye, it actually looks pretty clean in there. But when you take your finger, rub on the inside, that's what you get. So this is kind of the old method of doing it, the cheap method. I mean, they do have new methods that you can use some chemicals, and I've done that before, like POR15, all that. But I like this method a little bit better when I'm dealing with a gas tank or a motorcycle gas tank. First thing you'll need is maybe some duct tape. Basically, you want to cover up. You want to take the fuel petcock off, and you want to plug that hole up, cover that hole up. So first thing to do, take the fuel petcock off, and you'll need duct tape or anything you can use to cover that hole up. Most of you have duct tape, so that costs you nothing. Next thing you'll need, some distilled water. Usually you can get this from any grocery store, any drugstore for anywhere from $1 to $2, $3 a gallon. So that's pretty cheap. And last thing you'll need is some pure sand, which typically like white sand, play sand, that kind of thing. You can use, I don't use the contractor sand, use more like a play sand. So to do this, it's real simple. If you look on the internet, it's going to tell you to put like a quart of sand in with a quart of distilled water. Basically, you just want, you want equal parts of both. So this is a small tank, so we're just going to use maybe half of this, maybe a little bit more. We're not going to use a quart, obviously. This is a lot smaller tank here. So we'll go ahead and pour that in, straight into the tank. And a little bit more. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's pouring sand. Also, before you even begin this process, be sure to flush out the tank with water. A lot of water, flush it out, make sure you get all the gas out of there. So we've got probably, we'll put a little bit more in. That should do it. And then we'll put about equal parts of distilled water. And you don't want to use regular water, you do want to use distilled. Regular water will just, basically, it's going to cause rust. Distilled water will not. I just happen to have distilled water because I work in the dental field and sterilizers use distilled water. So once you've got that in there, go ahead, put the cap on, and basically start shaking the crap out of this thing for about 15-20 minutes. Empty all this out, and then flush it with water again, regular water. Then flush it with some distilled. Then, if you still have rust in there, we'll go ahead and repeat the process. So we're going to shake this like we've never shaken it before for about 15 minutes. And then before we flush it, we'll see what it looks like. So stay tuned. After about another 15 minutes of rinsing it out with water, and then lastly we did the distilled water. You can see, I mean, there's a few specks in there still, but that looks almost new compared to the other. Now you want to let this drain and dry for a few days. And good idea if you have some air with air compressor, try to blow it out. But keep in mind, do put a filter on your petcock, on your fuel line there, because you may have a filter on here, but still put a second filter, because a couple of those little sand particles can wreak havoc. I mean, you'll be chasing that forever if that clogs up a jet. So do that. Check it 100 times. I mean, I had to rinse this one out about 10 times. So it does take a while. No, not a whole lot of time. Just it's, a lot of shaking. So do that, and what I'll do is I'll try to post a picture of before and after of these inside of the tank there, so you can get an idea of what it looks like. That's really about it. Let it dry. Put the filter on there, and that's you should be ready to go. Make sure your petcock is not damaged in any way. If it is, replace that or try to clean it. Don't do it with sand, but just with air or what have you. That'll do it for this one. If you have any questions or comments, post those below.